All right, happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to the third episode of Adventures in Old Code. Let's see what we have today. Okay, let us sort by modified date. On the 5th of October 1998, Cointoss. This should be great. I vaguely recall what this actually was. I should really add this to my autoexec bat. Autoexec bat. Cointoss. Coin toss. Here we go. All right. This is not a very big program either, so this will be a short episode today. As always, well, here, let's just let's run it because I have no idea what it's going to do. Heads or tails? Okay, we'll take tails. Tails. Heads, 1,000. Tails, 947. You lose. There was a difference of 53. Let's try it again. We'll take heads this time. Heads, 990. Tails, 1,000. You lose. I'm beginning to think this is an unwinnable game. We'll try heads again. Ha! All right, we win. There was a difference of 66. Okay, so it seems like I toss a virtual coin and mark down heads or tails, and when something hits 1,000, the game is over. Let's see how I performed such a monstrous, seemingly insurmountable feat. Defner. That's our random number generator as always. We're clearing the screen. H is 0, T is 0. Now this is actually wonderful because even though they're only single character variables, because it's called coin toss, I know what H and T mean. I mean, I could have called it heads and tails, but obviously I was lazy back then and decided H and T was okay. Well, apparently it is. All right, input. Heads or tails. This is probably the point in my computer science course where I had first learned the input command. Basically like the print command. Hello T, and then you can print T. So this will, hello, hi. Oh, redo from start. Redo from start. Oh boy, I don't know what happened there. Okay, I obviously don't know how to use the input command. Sorry about that. I'm not sure why that didn't work. Okay, heads or tails. H, T. Oh, right. Okay. So in other programming languages, you declare variables as certain types. Some languages today, like Python, they're not strongly typed. So variable can be an integer or a double or a string of characters, anything you want. It could even be functions. But a language, say for instance, like Java, needs you to say this variable is a string, this variable is an integer, or whatever. This variable is a function. In QBasic, it's not. It definitely is strongly typed. Variables have to be one thing and one thing only. You can see my H and T. I just decided to use them. When you just use a variable, it just pops into existence. But the way, if you don't specify anything, I believe these numbers are single floating point numbers. or they could be, no, they're single floating point numbers. So they give you a few decimal places. I'm not sure how much, but that's the default. If you wanted to say, no, this variable actually really needs to hold characters, it's a string, you have to have a string variable, and you can do that in two ways. So obviously ht is a variable. So you could say, there were two ways. You could say dim name as string. No, sorry, you don't use it. That's for global variables. So I could say name equals Joey, print name string. There we go. Let's clear my screen. Okay, so this is what's going on. When you have a variable with a $sign at the end of it, that is telling QBasic, hey, this holds string characters, which is why my earlier attempt didn't work. So let's try that again. Input, what is your name? And then after the input command, we put the name of a variable, but we have to put a $sign at the end. That tells QBasic this is a string variable. And then we can go ahead and print name. So this should, oh. Okay. Joey. QBasic did everything for you, apparently. Input automatically adds a question mark. Wow. Oh my goodness, that could get annoying. I think from the recesses of my memories, if you put a comma, okay, so, oh, and I don't even have the space. So a semicolon will add both a space and give you a question mark. All right, so that's how the input command works. That must have been what I learned at school that day. Okay. H&T, input, heads or tails into this variable, ht string. ht string equals ucase string. Ucase string is a built-in function that I think you can even hit F1 here. Look at that. Ucase string, a string processing function that returns a string expression with all letters in uppercase. So it basically takes your lowercase letter, turns it uppercase, takes your uppercase letter, keeps it uppercase. So after this line, we know for sure we have an uppercase letter. Okay, do. This is probably also what I learned in school that day, the do loop until command. So do this block of code here until you get 1,000 heads or you get 1,000 tails. We randomize the timer. Again, that doesn't need to be there. It could just be on top of the first thing in the program, but that's okay. Ran equals FNR2. So I'm going to take a random integer between 1 and 2. If it was 1, add 1 to heads. If it was 2, add 1 to tails, and keep going until you get one of them is 1,000. Awesome. Some print statements here to print out our output. Print using. The print using command is kind of like what is the command in C? I can't even remember. The console.writeline in C# and stuff like that. Anyhow, this is a way to format your output. So it says, you know, I'm going to give you two variables, H and T here, and plug them into these locations in the string and give them 4 characters each. Okay, so we're printing out our values nicely formatted. So Okay. If you'd chosen H and H1, then print you win. If you chose H and tails won, then print you lose. If you chose tails and heads won, then print you lose. If you chose tails and tails won, print you win. And then the difference, I guess, the absolute value between H and T, there was a difference of diff. All right, so I must have, between now this program and the previous program, must have been the do loops, the print usings, the absolute value function, and the input function. And so, yeah, that was it. I went home and I came up with this silly little game. What is that? Tails. Yes! Difference of 7. Right on. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for more adventures in old code.